Well, with my first, we did IVF. So, doing all of the hormones and the questions of like, when is it going to happen?
Hey, welcome back to the Torch Mom podcast. We have a special guest with us tonight, Jackie, a Torch Mom taking on risk and crushing hate daily. Welcome to the show, Jackie.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here.
You and me both, and I'm ready to get this party started. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
All right, let's dive into these questions then.
Perfect.
What was your childhood like, and how do you think it shaped the woman you are today?
My childhood was very special. I had working parents that are very ambitious and own their own company, but at the same time, they had all the time to dedicate to me and my sister to give us the most amazing life that we could have. So I got to see the ambitious working parents of owning a company and working really hard for what they have, but also having the opportunities and the ability to be able to be who I am. And they gave me so much opportunity of being able to go to lots of camps and um, classes and all the different things. So I was able to really explore all of my interests and be able to like hone in on all the different things that I like to do.
Oh, that's awesome. You had some good freedom, nice structure, and then, get to do what you felt you needed to do throughout your transitions in life. So that's super cool.
That's right.
Okay. So, who were you before motherhood? And what were you passionate about? What did your life look like?
Oh my gosh. So I was a vet tech, and I've always been an animal lover. We have always had animals at home. My mom does a lot of volunteering with animal rescues, so we've always done that as well. And so through that, I also ride horses. And so with all of those things combined, I decided out of high school I wanted to go work with horses, and through that I learned a lot of the veterinary industry. And so then I went into veterinary medicine, and so I worked at large and small animal vets around Atlanta. And so I got to do a lot of helping animals, and I learned so much, and it was so much fun also.
Wow. Well, I watch a lot of animal shows and I love to see the vets do their work. So kudos to you for being one of those people.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was really fun and also very rewarding because you get to learn a lot and you get to help animals and you get to help them through, you know, one of the things that I've really learned from that is being able to communicate when animals or people aren't able to communicate back with you.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, because that's definitely something there.
Hmm.
Hmm. What were your biggest fears or anxieties about becoming a mom? And how did you prepare yourself for that transition?
I'm a researcher. I do so much research on everything. I Before I became a mom and when I was pregnant, I would research all the things. I would like watch TikToks and Instagram and all the things on just all the mom creators with all the advice. And so I had every single type of advice, right? These people would recommend this or this would have an opposite recommendation, and I would just research everything. And so it's kind of like I don't even know what fears I had because I researched all of them, right? Like anything that you could think of, I feel like I was prepared for because I just like looked it all up. And then,
Mhm.
any of those schedules that you looked for or like feeding schedules or sleeping schedules, like that's just something that I had like lists of and just all the research. And so I just, with my first, I felt like I was so prepared because I had done all that research and I spent a lot of time just watching videos and doing all of that. And then with my second, it's like, it was kind of like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I already have one. And then it was the opposite. You're like, oh, I'm not prepared, even though, I already have one. I've done it, but all kids are so different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it was a big learning curve with the second one.
Oh, such a big learning curve.
My goodness. And then, whichever you choose, or if you want to do both, during your pregnancy, what was the biggest challenge you faced?
Well, with my first, we did IVF. So, um, doing all of the hormones and the questions of like, when is it going to happen?
Mhm.
That was definitely, something we faced. And then just kind of learning the changes of everything, the changes of your body, the changes of the dynamic of your family,
Mhm.
both within our little family of my husband, my children, and I, but then also the dynamic of like your bigger family, right? The in-laws and your grandparents and like siblings, all of that.
Mhm.
Everything changes when you have a child. And it's like, I love my family, but then it's like my family comes first, right? And so it's so hard to
Mhm.
have that dynamic of both and wanting to make sure everyone's happy, but also like the people that need to be happy are me and my children and my husband.
Exactly. Exactly. Finding that balance between the family before this family started. Like,
Right.
which one? No, I already picked one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, how did becoming a mom shift your sense of identity?
I had a huge shift in identity. I just became a mom and it's just been everything that I am and I love it and I'm so happy. Um but it definitely went from being like this really hard ambitious worker and I would work all the time, I'd work overtime, I'd like be the one that volunteers to do all of that and then all of a sudden I have this tiny baby and it was like nothing else matters.
Mhm.
And so I just took it on with full force and I ended up becoming a stay-at-home mom and I mean I love it. With my first, it was everything was about schedules and doing basically everything was on her time. And
Mhm.
I know a lot of people it's like babies fit into their family, but it's kind of like she fit into us but then we fit into what she needed to.
Mhm.
um and then like as things have progressed and I've now have two kids, I've also kind of learned that I am a mom, but now I'm re-finding myself again as
Mhm.
Jackie.
Yeah. Hmm. And I know that in this season, there's a lot of moms that can resonate with that. So it's super cool that you said it that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's switch over a little bit. You work with families on first years, from routines, schedules, feeding, and sleep. Honestly, lack of sleep can impact everything.
Oh yeah.
What do you think sleep deprivation does to moms mentally and emotionally that people underestimate?
Of everything. I mean, every part of your life is impacted with sleep because sleep is a non-negotiable. It's not a luxury. It's not something that's like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Like, no, you can't survive if you don't sleep. It's just like breathing or eating or drinking water. Like you have to have that. And so many people underestimate. They're like, "Oh, well, we'll just, we'll do it later. We'll get a couple hours of sleep." Um, and people don't realize the impact that it has on your mental health and overall physical health because it really, I mean, when you're sleeping, that is when your brain processes everything you've done during the day. it stores memories, it stores things you've learned. And as you grow, with adults especially, it also is where your body rests and restores. And if you're not sleeping, your body's not doing any of those things. And so it's not repairing itself. It's not storing those memories. And so that's when you get that brain fog and the memory loss and that kind of stuff. And so people really underestimate amount that sleep def- the amount that sleep deprivation can affect you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm thankful that you brought that to light, because I know that a lot of moms beat themselves up about that. Like, I'm gonna get rest later, like you said, but no, you need to get that rest right now if that's what your body is telling you. So you can gain back what you need to keep moving forward, you know?
That is definitely something that I've learned with having two kids is like, even though we have way less time now because we have two kids and
Mm-hmm.
we have to do a lot more, especially as they get older. As I said, with me finding myself, like I'm actually taking the time for myself. I wasn't doing as much when I had one, and now I'm like, I need that time for myself. I need to go take a nap or go take a shower or whatever that is. Like I need to actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband and I have this, we have a plan, and there are days where, hey, I need to do this. Okay, cool. I got the kids, and vice versa. I've got his back, he's got mine.
Mm-hmm. It's good. That's a good team and unity that's over there. You know, nobody's doing it by themselves. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
And what's something parents blame themselves for that's actually completely normal?
Well, so much, right? That's a big question, isn't it? uh, a big thing I would say would be the kids' behavior.
Hmm.
Kids' behavior can be absolutely normal, and a lot of it is based on just a little adjustment in their schedule, in your attention, and something that they need. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, they just have that's just how they act," or they're just hyper. But really, it's just a simple, then they blame themselves for it, and they blame themselves that they don't sleep, and they blame themselves that they don't eat, and then it just this whole cycle of one thing after another. And really it's just that tiny detail that you're overlooking. Of a lot of it usually boils down to one-on-one attention with the parents, and even that 5 minutes, even having a 5 or 10 minute dedicated one-on-one, no distractions, can literally just change the whole day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know you guys heard that tip right there. Okay. So, now you're a parent concierge, which I think a lot of people have never even heard before. What does being a parent concierge actually look like in real life for families?
So this is definitely something that is new. And I am making, because there has been such a gap in the communication and the support that families get. And also, like I said, I'm a researcher, and not everybody is, or not everybody has the time. And so I want to bridge that gap of doing the research for you, doing the connections for you, of, sometimes you go to the doctor and they don't actually they don't actually either refer you somewhere, or they just have this giant long list, right? And then you have to go do all the research of which person do I want to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my job. I take that out for you so you don't have to take all that time researching, and I can tell you the different options and the different support that you can have, and I can take whatever is going on with your family and whatever struggles you're dealing with, whether it's sleep or feeding or behavior, if it's with learning, any of that, anything physical, developmental. Oh my gosh. developmental,
Mhm.
and I can take whatever is going on and then go through whoever is available and give the family what they need. So if they need a speech language pathologist, I have a list and I can take their personality and say, this is the best person that you'll work with.
Mhm.
So they don't have to go through and like test out a bunch of people to find who they work with best or their kid works with
Mhm.
best. I've already done that work for them.
Man, now that's super cool because I'm a mom over here, and those are some fluster situations. And you just get ready to throw them in the trash because you really don't want to deal with that all the time. So to have someone to take that off of you is such a lifesaver. So that's awesome because parents are constantly being told to figure it out, especially in those early years. So, what are some of the biggest gaps you're seeing now when families try to find that support on their own?
There's so many gaps. I mean, there are absolutely places for going to the doctor, but a lot of times right now, going to the pediatrician, it's like if you don't have the flu or a broken bone or, something they can actually fix or like,
Mhm.
your regular checkups, a lot of times they do what they know and then they say either go do all these extensive tests or you know everything looks fine right now, call us back if it keeps happening, and then you're like I did and it's still happening.
Mhm.
And there's just so much that people don't know is available for them, like lactation
Mhm.
consultants. People don't always know about that, or sleep consulting, or the different types of other therapies like occupational therapy. When you think that, you think of like putting on your clothes, but with kids, there's so much more that you can get out of occupational therapy. Like I did it
Mhm.
with my son when he was a baby, when he was having trouble with sleeping and feeding. We actually did occupational therapy, and that helped with that. So you
Mhm.
wouldn't connect those two things because occupational therapy for adults is different than it is for kids. And
Mhm.
so a lot of pediatricians and um, a lot of doctors don't always recommend stuff like that because they just don't always know about it.
Mhm.
And so that's my job, is to expand the knowledge for parents so that they know what's out there.
Yeah. And then even though you're based in Atlanta, you support families nationally.
Absolutely. I work with a couple of groups nationally, and so I have connections all over the country. And just through social media, also, I've just met so many practitioners that, just like me, they're like, we don't know how to get out there. And we, a lot of parents just don't know how to find us. And
Mhm.
so I built this program and parent concierge so that people can find them.
Mhm. That's awesome. And I want to ask, what made you realize that it wasn't just a local need?
Social media. I mean, I
Mm.
started doing social media seriously in what I would say November of last year.
Okay.
And, I've always kind of wanted to do it and I've done it here and there of like posting, and then I just was never consistent. And then I just decided to.
Mhm.
And I met so many moms and there's so many parents that are like, we don't know about these things, or, we're struggling with this. And I suggest something and they're like, I've never heard of that before.
Mhm.
And even Googling it, you don't always find what you're looking for, or you find the few generic things. And kids are people too. Everybody is different. Even with my two kids, they're completely different. They have different personalities. They have, different ways that they like to be comforted and everything. And so I have just learned that people everywhere need it. Just like I need it here, you need it there. I mean, everybody needs it.
Mhm. Mhm. What does torch mom mean to you?
It means being bold and getting out there and letting people know that there is support. There's support for you, and you don't have to do this alone.
Mm, 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 mm. You guys and your perspectives. Mm, yeah. What's one thing parents are overwhelmed trying to navigate right now that nobody really prepares them for?
I would say a lot of it would be sleep.
Mm,
Everything, everything does revolve around sleep, and the sleep struggles, they just don't know how to, basically they think of sleep training as cry it out. And that is just, it's either we rock you to sleep or we cry it out. And nobody really thinks of there's something in between that you can do. And
mhm,
so that is definitely something that people aren't always prepared for because, like I said, with kids, they're all different. And so having all kids are different, and it's really hard to be able to predict what you're going to need for each one.
mhm.
And sleep is different with them too, because my kids are complete opposite, which is what brought me here in the first place. My first perfect sleeper did everything on a schedule, like just all the things, right? She ate on a schedule, slept on a schedule, just everything. And then my son, complete opposite. He did not. He didn't sleep more than 2 or 3 hours until 7 months old. And so that's just what brought me here, is that it's like, well, I did everything right, right? I did everything the way that I was supposed to, that the internet tells me to do, and it just still didn't work. And
Mhm,
so I had to find an alternative to doing what I thought was right, because I don't take no for an answer, and I don't want to just say like, "Oh, he's just like that, he'll sleep eventually." Like, no,
mhm,
when he started sleeping through the night, I mean, he had a growth spurt, he was eating better. He was, everybody was happier, of course, because we all got sleep. And so we we definitely underestimated that all kids are different and we have to adapt to who they are.
mhm. And you think about, even if your baby starts out sleeping perfectly fine, schedule, all that good stuff, and then next thing you know, it's something else. And I wouldn't even have thought of this back in 2012 when I had my baby. you know so like you said, it's either cry it out, rock them to sleep, make sure you change the pamper, make sure they're fed. You just, that's the basic things that you're thinking about. So to know that there's something in between to give that relief to parents is awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, let's dig into something really quick, because years ago motherhood was often woven into community. Grandmothers nearby, neighbors checking in, kids outside together, shared meals, people dropping by without scheduling a Zoom link first. Now, a lot of moms are raising children while also trying to be financially stable, emotionally available, mentally healed, physically healthy, and digitally present. And we're going to add professionally successful and somehow still soft and patient through all of it. So, my question for you is, do you think modern motherhood has become too isolated?
Oh, absolutely. It takes a village. It takes a
Hmm.
village to raise a family. And that doesn't always just mean, like you said, the grandparents, the friends, we need that. Absolutely. We need that community. And we are starting to build that. I definitely did not have that when I first had my son, and I started building it. And that is definitely a big factor of what changed things.
Yeah.
And you also need a village to help you with anything that you're struggling with. You don't have to struggle alone. with having a lactation consultant, an occupational therapist, or a sleep consultant, or a speech language therapist, or a mental health therapist, because that is important too.
Hmm.
And you need all of that community to be able to survive right now. And you also do need that community of having mom friends, even if those mom friends are through the internet, even if that
Hmm.
is through social media. I mean, I've met some of my best mom friends through Instagram. I mean, I so you don't have to think about that village being the neighbor next door. You can also think of it as the people that you've met online,
Mhm.
because those are the biggest supporters.
Man, you are not lying there. I'm telling you. You spend hours on the phone talking to them and everything, have your accountability partners and all that good jazz, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, with you recently transitioning into your own business while raising your children, what did stepping into entrepreneurship teach you about yourself?
It taught me that I could do it.
Hmm.
It taught me that I can keep going. I've known that I can keep going because we've been through a lot of trials and tribulations over the past few years in our family. But
Hmm.
with this entrepreneurship, I have really learned how to really navigate that schedule and the work life balance of being like, okay, I'm on my phone too much. I got to put it down. It's okay to not respond to every single message that I get. uh this is my time for family. And so I really have figured out the difference between, you know working too much and really being like, okay, I need to step away and I have this time for working and this time for doing things for myself and this time for my family, and really being able to I've learned that I can do it all. I just have to actually do that, right? And not
Mhm.
just get sucked into the working and responding to messages on social media, because a lot of what I do is social media. And so really getting sucked into that. And so I have to be so mindful of, hey, okay, put it down. This is
Mhm.
family time. I can do
Mhm.
that later.
Yeah.
And but I still can do it all.
Let that be known. Hmm. Okay, with you riding horses and you crochet too, which honestly is very peaceful. And it's a contrast to the chaos of motherhood. And what would you say those hobbies give back to you as a woman outside of parenting?
They're just so fun. I mean, it's just first of all, they're just so fun. I mean, I love creating things and then seeing like I made this. Like with crocheting, you're like, wow, I actually can do it, because crocheting can be hard. Um but I still love it. And with riding horses, that is just, I mean, I've ridden horses since I was 9 years old at least. And so it's just kind of like, the last few years have been on and off from between family and working and all the things.
Mhm.
But being able to ride horses is it's just that joy. It's just so fun and it's just so freeing. And I love being with the animals and being outside. And it's just my core,
Mm,
being
mm,
being an equestrian is definitely part of my core.
mm. Lovely. And what's a truth about motherhood that you wish more women felt safe enough to say out loud?
It's okay to ask for help.
Hmm.
People do not ask for help enough. And when you need help, ask for help and then get the help, not just say I need it and then move on, actually getting that help. And I know that is so much harder and it's so much easier said than done.
Mhm.
But asking for help is just such a core of being a parent because you cannot do it alone. You
Mhm.
need that village, and asking for help will really it just changes everything. I'm so blessed that I do have that village. My parents live close. My husband's parents live close, so I have a lot of family that are able to help take care of my kids if I am not available, especially now that I'm working a lot more than I was.
Mhm.
And, you know, but also asking for help, saying, I need to do therapy, or I need to go to the doctor because I'm not feeling good. A lot of parents, especially moms, say, I can go to the doctor later. But
Mm.
like sometimes you can't do that. You don't want it to turn into another thing and another thing. You need to take care of yourself in order to take care of your kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. You better tell it like it is. Yeah. Are there any upcoming projects or ventures that you're excited about?
Um, well, I'm definitely starting this parent concierge, so I want to make sure that everybody knows that I am available to help and give everybody support. And we do photography. My husband and I do photography as well.
Hmm.
So we do also offer photography sessions for families. We can do any type of photography, but we do specialize in family, where it is a quick session, but that is family focused because nobody wants to spend 2 hours taking pictures with their kids. Nobody wants to
Mhm.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if your kids are little, if you've got a 3-year-old, you've got like 20 minutes tops, right? So we can get a full session done in a 20 to 40-minute period where you get all the pictures you need without the struggle of, oh, we need this one more shot or whatever it is of, we specialize in getting that quality photo shoot in a small amount of time.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'll definitely be sure to drop all of the connections that you can make with Jackie in the description section. So please be on the lookout, you guys, for that. Can you tell us one cycle you're intentionally breaking through your motherhood right now?
Yelling. We are doing our best. I can definitely say I'm not 100% because some days are hard,
Hmm.
but we are breaking the cycle of yelling at our kids and creating that chaos and stress at home. We want our home to be happy and peaceful, and we want our kids to know that we are the safe space. You can
Hmm.
tell us anything, and I don't want the yelling to be something that brings our kids down and makes them feel like they can't come to us.
Hmm. Love that. And thank you for being transparent and sharing with us too.
Absolutely.
And do you have anything else that you'd like to share with our audience, or is there anyone that you'd like to give flowers to before we close out?
Um, I would say that I am thinking. I would I would say we're offering consultations in photography, and I would definitely want to say I want to give flowers to my mom because she has brought me into this entrepreneurship and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
Awesome. Well, flowers are given to your mom. And I'm also going to give flowers to my mom and all of the moms throughout the world because Mama's Day is on Sunday. So, everyone, be sure to have a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. And just keep in mind that Mother's Day is every day or just the day that you had your baby as well. So, you can have your own celebration. I want to
Absolutely.
thank you so much for sharing your insights and experiences and space with us, Jackie. Your time and energy is truly appreciated.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You guys, if you love today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another mom who needs to hear this. Have experiences or questions to share? Send us an email to thetorchmompodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and TikTok at The Torch Mom Podcast. Plus, the Torch Mom Confessions Hotline is always open. Call 202-670-6476 anytime, or use the voice memo link in the description if that's easier. And don't forget, this week's confession question, your voice might be exactly what another mom needs. Didn't have a backstage pass to check out the live stream? It'll be available for viewing on our YouTube channel, The Torch Mom Podcast. So be sure to subscribe, like, and share. Negativity is forbidden, and energy is power. Remember, what you desire, you already have. We love you. Stay torch.